Welcome to another episode of In Lieu of Murder with Amanda Marie.
And your other co-host, Ainoa. Um, how are you guys today? I hope you are doing well with all the crap that's going on in the world right now.
Happy Valentine's Day. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day for almost everyone. Other people, I wish they have a horrible Valentine's Day. Sorry. Orange people should not get to celebrate Valentine's Day. Just kidding.
That's racist, ma'am.
Well, there's no DEI anymore, so it doesn't fucking matter. Um, but no, thank you. I just want to say something before we start. If you haven't liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. It does help us greatly. And we are so happy to be here every single day, right? Oh, not every single day. Sorry. In my head, we're every single day, but no.
I was going to
Um,
say, I don't know where I'm at while she's doing this, y'all, but I apologize because I don't be here every day.
no, but we're happy to be here, every Friday. Telling you guys stories. So, first off, this is going to miss a lot of people. I've come to realize recently that with the current political climate, the people that support Trump or the MAGAs, they almost have a cult like mentality, and it's like trying to use logic with idiots because I think that's what they are. And I'm sorry, Amanda, but I'm not going to remain neutral in this one. It's like a complete lost cause. They're not going to listen. And it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what facts you throw at them. You are just like I was called recently a deranged Latina pushing a liberal agenda, which I'm not even a Latina, but okay. But there are people that did vote for Trump that even though I don't truly feel bad, I I do understand that they were fooled. Because Trump is a con man. He is a good liar and he spreads misinformation and takes advantage of the people that will, have been Republicans for their entire life, perhaps. And he says something they may not understand, like when he said he was going to lower prices, but he was going to impose tariffs and make other countries pay for it. That's not how tariffs work. But a lot of people heard that and said, yeah, other countries are going to pay for it. And that's not the truth. They didn't know what tariffs were, but they didn't look for it because they took his word for it. um and that's how propaganda works. It's happened to me before where I see a bunch of commercials, or I see a bunch of videos on TikTok of somebody like pushing a cream for wrinkles or something, and I'm like, oh, this has to work so well, and I don't bother to look at the ingredients, and next thing you know, I have a rash on my face. That's what Trump is. He's a rash on America, and it's fucking spreading really fucking quickly. So, on that note, this is for you.
Hold up, fly high, but I never touch the sun. Stop, no way, I don't wanna find the one. You want that younger puppy love, you're dreaming. Told you I don't wanna catch no feelings. Give me love, fuck it up, get the gun, bang. Run it up to the top, give me your red flag. Give me love, fuck it up, get the gun, bang.
I want to start off just really quick by saying for
Mhm.
any of you that have missed our last episode, I don't follow politics. I don't do well with politics. I I'm not the person to come ask questions to because I'm just learning a lot of this stuff. And a lot of this stuff I'm learning because I know it feels it's really important for me to learn. I have spent the majority of my life very isolated when it comes to politics and world news because news used to upset me. So I just didn't watch it at all. So I would only know when things were happening if I know it told me. So with the recent election of President Trump, I am learning so many things that so that's why you're going to hear I know explain a lot of things as we talk about it, and you may hear me ask questions to gain understanding as we go forward before I give an opinion, so I don't give an uneducated opinion. So there we go.
Yeah, and not only that, I actually wanted to start by asking you if you had any questions in particular that I should address, or if you wanted me to start explaining certain things that other people may not know. And I mean,
Yeah,
I've
so absolutely.
I've
I
looked
wanna
at
know if I understand what a tariff is, so I'm gonna
okay.
ask some questions about that, but what were you about to say?
Well, I I there's a lot of people like you, to be honest with you.
Right.
There's a lot of people that don't follow politics. There's a lot of people that voted for Trump just because they're Republican, even they were completely uninformed, but they just voted for Trump because they didn't want to vote for Kamala. There wasn't another reason. You know what I mean? They just didn't want to vote to the Democratic Party. And I'm I'm bipartisan. I'm bipartisan. I don't go either way. I have views about myself, like for instance, that like my morals or that are more conservative, and there's parts of me that are more open, more liberal. You know what I mean? And I think the problem here is that a lot of MAGAs, maggots, a lot of maggots. The difference between a normal person with some form of empathy and them is that they have this this ideology that how they see the world is the right way to see the world, and everyone should see the world that way. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I've had two children. I wasn't in the best place in life when I got pregnant, and I could have chosen to have an abortion or not, right? But maybe because I've been raised Catholic or whatever other reason, it felt wrong for me to have an abortion. Like I wasn't going to be psychologically okay with having an
Mm,
abortion.
right.
That's my view for myself and my body.
Right, not your view for others.
Exactly. I don't try to impose that on others because I do not know their situation. It is their decision, nor do I think that they are evil or horrible people for making that decision for themselves. You know what I mean? As long as my freedoms are respected and as long as you don't intrude in my freedoms, you can do with your life as you please. Do you know? And magas are the complete opposite. Um, but but yeah, we're gonna get into tariffs, how they work. If that's one of your questions, but the first thing I wanted to explain is with everything that they're doing with Elon Musk and Doge. I don't know, Doge.
Oh, okay, yeah, so I've been waiting to figure out how to pronounce that correctly.
It's
So
almost
I
like
did
saying
see
douche, but
yeah, because I read slightly about what's going on with that, but again, I don't really understand. Like, all I'm seeing is, the stuff that comes through Facebook, and I'll be honest with all of our viewers, I don't go and Google this stuff. I learn everything that I learn because I Noah gets mad and calls me and says, "Bitch, guess what?" And then
yeah.
she tells me things, and I'm just like, "Oh, this is very overwhelming information. Okay." And then we'll chit chat for a little bit. But 9 times out of 10, you can ask her. I go, "Listen, my brain doesn't have the capacity to deal with this right now because in general, as a person, and I feel like there's a lot of people in my era of people that feel the same way I do. A lot of this stuff it's important because we should know what's going on and we should understand what's going on. But the flip side is it's so much to take in so quickly. Like more has been done in the last month, the last less than 30 days than was done the entire 4 years it feels like last time. And so for people like me, it's way too much and it's way too overwhelming all at one time, so I can't take it all in. I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, we just got through yesterday's, catastrophe. Like, can I have a little bit of a break?" But I feel like a lot of people in my era were raised like where I feel like, and this is I'm just gonna be blunt. I feel like most of the people around me were raised Republican because it's how our parents were. We were raised by conservative people. And then somewhere in there, that conservatives has dropped off. My mom has voted Republican most of her life, and she doesn't tell me like how she votes or nothing like that. But I know that she was really upset with this election, and she didn't tell me who she voted for, and I would never disclose if she did. But I do know that she kept saying, my whole life I was a Republican, and now things have changed. And, a lot of people are going independent because they don't want to be stuck on either side, because there are crazy people on both sides too.
Yeah.
There's people like me and I know that will discuss everything and make it all make sense somewhere, for whatever, or say no, this is just wrong as my right as a human. But then there's people on the liberal side that are losing their minds, man, and doing some very drastic things. But it's the same on the other side. Like, both sides are, I don't know. I think we should just cage everybody up, put them on separate islands, and let the people that are in the middle chill here. We could put them in the Gulf of America, right?
Yeah, just throw them in there.
But
That's funny
go
with
ahead.
with the Gulf of America. It's that's so ridiculous. I mean, and this is what their agenda is. They're doing so many smoke and mirrors. It's only the Gulf of America in if you're looking at Google Maps from America. Like, my sister's overseas, and I asked her last night, I was like, "Hey, can you take a look at Google Maps? What does it say?" And it says the Gulf of Mexico. To everyone else in every other book everywhere in the world, it's going to remain the Gulf of Mexico. This is just like smoke and mirrors and something to inflate fucking Trump's ego and all the MAGAs that are claiming
Why
to
didn't
be.
he just name it the Gulf of Trump?
I don't know. That's what he should have done because that's. And the thing is so stupid. I mean,
I don't
America's a
really care
fucking.
what it's called. It's always been called that, so I'm always gonna call it that. That'd be like
Yeah.
if he decides that we're gonna change Mars's name to, I don't know, to whatever. Hey, I'm still always gonna call it Mars because that's what it was my entire life.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid because America's a fucking continent. It's not even just this country. This is the United States of America, but Mexico's America, Canada's America, Brazil is America. It's a fucking continent. And it's international waters. It doesn't even belong. Only like the 12 like first nautical miles or something like that. I don't know exactly
But
belong to
listen,
the
if we're gonna
country.
rename stuff, like I have a list of things I'd like to rename also. Who do I send that to? Is there like an address? Like
Yeah, just
executive orders at the White House, care of
it's
Donald
the
Trump.
Pennsylvania Avenue, just something like that. um but no, I get it. And I because I myself don't always follow politics to the T. You know what I mean? But this scenario that we're seeing in this country right now, it's
Scary.
extreme. It's like unprecedented. What is happening right now here has never fucking happened. The America as we know it, America as the founding fathers of this country set it up, is going to be no more if Trump and Elon Musk and all the fucking oligarchs get their fucking way.
Listen, who voted for Elon?
Nobody.
Is
He
that the
is an
vice president?
no, no. Vance is the vice president,
I
which is
thought Vance was, but I mean, I had to ask because all I hear about is Trump and Musk.
yeah. I mean, Times Magazine actually, it was. I think it pissed off Trump so fucking badly. Times Magazine, they actually made the front page of the magazine was Elon Musk sitting behind a Resolute desk because he has been given control of everything, and he while he is controlling everything, Trump is sending like saying stupid ass shit
What kind
to
of dirt
to
does he have on Trump, you think?
um only recently because around the time that the magazine Time magazine popped up, um Elon Musk suspiciously put out a tweet or a what do you call it when it because it's no longer tweets because it's X, not tweets. So
Maybe you call them X's.
X's put out an X. It feels better to say tweet. Sorry, I can't. put out a tweet kind of bringing back up to the surface the Epstein situation. And we all know that Trump and Epstein were best friends. I mean, Trump has said they were best friends. He is in the flight log for his fucking private jet that he took young girls with like at least 7 times.
Right.
And I think when the magazine cover came out, Trump got mad, and I think there was probably a confrontation with Elon, and then Elon kind of posted something alleging, like bringing up the Epstein situation, which to me was kind of like a warning sign. You know what I mean? Like, bitch, shut the blah 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 blah. Sit down. That's what I meant to say, but I also meant to say shut up. So we ended up with shit down. Shit down.
Now,
Now, bitch. Be humble. Um, so
so
I think
Epstein Island is the dirt.
I think there's something regarding that, yeah. And but I'm not saying that Trump doesn't have power over Elon, and I think Trump is being very smart in a sense because I think he's an idiot, but there's something there behind his eyes. There's some sort of a brain. I think he's allowing Elon Musk to take so much control. Um, because even though this is not just Elon Musk's agenda, it is his agenda because he wants this to be authoritarian. Like he wants the legislative branch of government to have all the power. Um, if something goes wrong, Trump can always have a fall guy. He can always blame Elon. And Trump hates losing and hates being painted in a bad light because he has a huge ego. So I think even though, it does seem like Elon is in control of everything, um, I think Trump is not, I think Trump knows what he's doing with this. So, with
Okay,
that
by
said,
the way, before we start, I just want to officially, so that no one can ever say that we haven't. I want to officially invite Donald Trump on our podcast to converse with us about things that are going on. Because I never want anyone to say that we didn't give him an opportunity to defend himself or his choices or his thoughts or, because we don't need Elon to be a fall guy. We need direct information from the person doing things. So, I mean, this is your formal invitation, President Donald Trump, to come hang out with us and chat. And we're just a small time podcast, but we have voices and we're the America that is out here. So let's go ahead. All right.
okay. So, first of all, let's just say when Trump became president, he declared he's besides doing a bunch of shit, removing DEI, immigration. Um,
So before you, sorry,
no, you're good.
I only have a, I only have a voice sometimes. Um, So when you say removing DEI, I need to completely understand what this means. So they're removing diversity, equality, and inclusion from everywhere, like workplace, school, everything.
Uh,
Like I
yes,
know that
and
I read a post from a librarian who was forced to pull over 300 books from her library, which was a third of what the school offered the children as books. And she only had like 4 days to do it, and she was really, really upset, like really upset. And but that's because those books may have had certain words in them that had to be removed.
yeah, well, so um, here's the thing: when it comes to like federal places, like
Mhm.
the federal workspace, for a fact, yes, DEI policies are no longer a thing. When it comes to like the military, because it's federal or DOD EA schools, um, Those are usually overseas. So like when there's a military base over school, when there's a military base overseas, because they're overseas and they're not going to go to like the local school, obviously the children have like a DODA school, which are typically like awesome schools, almost like a private school, and they are really highly ranked. Those are being affected first as far as schools because they're directly under the control of the federal government. Now, the problem here is like technically private companies shouldn't be affected, but the government has stepped um has basically shit on everybody's fucking rights here and has made it a point to pressure companies like, for instance, Target, Walmart, Coca-Cola, like all other private companies, has threatened them with like criminal charges if they refuse to comply. There are some
Oh,
companies that have said no, like for instance, Delta or Costco. You know, those are like two companies that have said no, but other companies have said okay.
okay.
Um, But DEI, just so that we're clear on that, the main beneficiary of DEI is white women. White women are DEI.
Okay.
Women are DEI. It's not just blacks, because a lot of white people, to be specific, associate DEI with like being a leg up for black people, and that's not the case. They're actually number 7 on the list of most like DEI hires. Okay. So DEI is not just, it's not what people think it is. And it's so much more than just hiring. For one, it was put in place to keep unqualified white men from getting jobs over qualified people that are not white men. That for
Okay.
one. Because that's a thing that has always happened throughout fucking history, where just because you're white and you're male, you can get a job over a woman. You get paid more than a woman. I mean, this is not fucking news.
Right. Yeah, this has been going on forever. It still goes on.
It still goes on. I mean, there's studies that have shown that if you send out an application and your name sounds like it's African American, you have a less chance of getting a job than if you send in your resume and you have a Caucasian name,
Which is crazy
which is fucking
because
crazy to
because
me.
names are so different, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I know that when people hire Amanda, they expect, this cute little white girl with straight hair and a bubbly personality to show up, and then and then I'm there, and they're like,
exactly.
"Oh, hi,
But
Amanda."
DEI is so much more than that. DEI is
Right,
parental leave. DEI is um when you have something going on in your life and like your parent dies and you need to leave work so that they can't hold that against you.
right.
DEI is extensions on airplanes for like seatbelt extensions. Um DI is accommodations for people with disabilities, including veterans. You know what I mean? DEI is not
And
just,
disabilities is a big thing.
it is. It's a huge thing.
Mhm.
And there's
Which
people that
means
have
there's no longer gonna be any support or so does that mean with, like, my situation, a company could choose not to recognize my disability?
that means that a company could choose not to make any accommodations for your disability, for one, and for two, if your disability impedes your like if there's something going on with your health or your disability, your disability is somehow, you just, you can't say no, I'm not going to wear heels to go inspect a property because I have this disability that doesn't allow me to wear heels. Like if you say something as simple as that, they may say, okay, well, now we're going to fire you, and you have no legal recourse against them for like any sort of discrimination.
Which is absolutely nuts. So, what does that
This,
mean for go ahead, sorry.
no, no, you ask me.
I was just gonna say, so what does this mean for people in my situation? Like, I have a disorder that could put me in the hospital with the click of my fingers. So you're
Mhm.
saying to me that that means, and when I say I have a disability, y'all, I have a rare disability. And there's no controlling it, like, at all. There's nothing that I can do besides hibernate in my house and never eat food again. Um, that I could do to stop the things from happening to me that happen. So with that being said, like, I could go into the hospital Tuesday and be fired by Wednesday.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be able to discriminate, you wouldn't be able to sue, or you would have no legal recourse against them. This is basically allowing minorities, um, and
This
people
makes
with
me want to shake
disabilities,
my. Can y'all see me shake my computer?
yeah,
Okay.
to be discriminated against. I mean, and in this, it is no, this is not news. If you have looked at Trump, he's not, he's a fucking racist. And Elon Musk, with my heart goes out to you, fucking salute. And
The Hitler thing.
yes, that was
Listen,
not,
they have you seen the auto tune remix they did of it?
no, I didn't.
Imma send it to you. Imma send it to you so you can see it. But they did one where they're like, show a picture of him, and then they're like, "I did not, I did not, I did not," and then they show Hitler.
Oh God. Okay, so Trump is doing, like we were saying, like I was saying earlier, Trump is doing a lot of things, and his job is basically a distraction, right? That's what his job is. That's why he's doing things that are really detrimental and are going to affect Americans. But that's why he's doing things like signing an executive order to remove paper straws. Um, yeah.
Why are paper straws so important right
Oh
now?
my God. Listen, I will find the video and I will post it on our page after this. But apparently, he says that paper straws, they disintegrate, and they're just horrible. They horrible. They explode in your mouth. How fucking hard do you have to suck on a fucking straw
For it
for
to
it to
explode?
explode? Like,
Listen, I feel like there's so much more that needs to be addressed and done to be worried about paper straws.
yes, but here's the thing, that what they're doing is basically they're overloading the system, right? It's like they have like you have a computer and you download a bunch of programs at once and it's going to fucking crash. They are putting so much information out there, they're doing so many executive orders, and they're doing so much at once, and spreading alongside that so much misinformation, that it's like you don't even know where to look anymore. Like it is, like, it is overwhelming. It is absolutely
That's why I
100%
get and that's why
overwhelming.
my mental capacity for it I get tired. I don't wanna talk about it no more, because
I
it's
know
all
you don't,
everybody's talking
and a
about.
lot of people don't, but I'm telling you, this is the time to protest this. Like, we have a fucking voice. Like, we the people have a voice, because this is what's happening. So Trump is president, and he um got this unelected fucking South African um Nazi to run the Doge team, the Department of Government Efficiency, which wasn't a thing, but it is now, right?
Are they
And
hiring?
no, because you are under the age of 25 and you have to be like a racist to join.
Oh,
I
yeah,
say that
I don't think I fit in.
Elon Musk was really pissed off with the names of the people in his team, came out. It ranges from the ages of 19 to 25. The 25-year-old was fired and then rehired because Vance and Elon Musk got pissed because he was let go. A reporter in New York Times, I believe it was the newspaper, uncovered some racist tweets on his behalf. Like, for instance, he said that he couldn't get paid enough to date outside of his race, how he was racist before racist was popular, how we should normalize Indian hate, and how something regarding eugenics. I don't remember all of them. But
Right.
this is the person that's going through our information right now. And the other
Great.
the 19-year-old that goes by the name Big Balls, that's so reassuring as well. None of the I want to also mention, when you're doing an audit to try to save money in any organization, you do not send hackers and coders. You send, you may know this, Amanda, who would you send? You would send
Accountant.
forensic accountants. These are people that have no idea about government programs. They have no idea what they do, how they work, or why it's important to have them. And
So,
they're
and just so y'all know, she said that just now because that's kind of, I work in a compliance department. So my job is to audit people and
yeah,
audit files and audit situations. And I've gone through a lot in the industry that I'm in to get to this level. I'm just not some 19 or 25-year-old person that they pulled off the street and they said, "Hey, you look like you might know how to use a computer. Come do this for us." These are hackers and coders, and that's scary. And I say that as someone that, I worked for Merrill Lynch through Salesforce, and that was my job. My job was to stop hackers and to stop coders from being able to access Merrill Lynch. So knowing that there's hackers and coders now out there that are being paid to sift through all these things, it's alarming to me because what is being done with my information?
not only hackers and coders, but hackers and coders with like very little moral compass, and their brain is not even fully fucking developed yet because they're not even
Right.
fucking old enough. Not only that, that the 19-year-old Big Balls was actually let go from the company that he was working at because he was found out to leak information to competitors. We have a hacker that is going through our information, through sensitive information, not only through our private information, but through the information. Like, for instance, when we have operatives in other countries, yes, spies and stuff like that, they get paid through the federal payment system. And that's one of the things that they have gained access to. Now, before all this started, Trump fired the inspector generals in various organizations. An inspector general is basically like an independent watchdog. They are actually the ones that make sure that companies and agencies do not commit fraud, do not do shady shit. That's the main job. They are not Democratic, they are not Republican.
So that's
They
kinda like what I do. It's my job is to remain neutral, but to look into everything, keep an eye out.
exactly. You're an inspector general basically.
Yay,
So
I'm gonna tell my company I want that title. Go ahead.
one of the first things that Trump did was fire the inspector generals, which is shady in itself, right? Number two, I want to explain to you how our government works. So, when the founding fathers created the Constitution, they didn't just create it on a whim, right? They looked at previous um, empires, previous governments, and why they had fallen. And they came to the conclusion that any one branch of government having too much power corrupts.
Would create the fall.
Exactly. It creates the fall of that empire. It always happens, right? And so when they created the Constitution, they created three co-equal branches of government, right? They have the legislative branch, which would be the president and his cabinet. They have the judicial branch, which is, the judges, the federal judges, etc. And then there's Congress, right? Congress is the House of Representatives and the Senate.
And
So,
Congress is the ones with the seats, right?
yeah. And Congress is comprised of both Republicans and Democrats. And sometimes there's more Republicans, sometimes there's more Democrats, sometimes it's
And
like
they're voted
more
in
equal.
like a rotation every 2 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that's why the midterms are going to be super important, you guys, because you have to go and vote. Because right now, most of the judges in the Supreme Court, for instance, are Republican. They're 6-3, 6 Republican to 3 Democratic.
Right.
Congress, Congress is fucking Republican. They have the majority in Congress. And then, of course, there's Trump. So he's Republican or something. I don't know. He's not, he, he's, he wants to become a dictator. But so, in these 3 branches of government, Congress is the one that has the power of the purse. So Congress is the one that has to approve payments, approve programs. They are the ones that have to basically say, okay, yes, you can spend that money. Now, Congress can pass bills, decide on the bills, and then the president has the power to say, no and veto that bill and prevent that from happening, right?
Okay.
But once Congress appropriates money or funds to fund these agencies or fund these programs, the president cannot, the president or anyone in the legislative branch cannot just say, fuck those programs, we're going to cut them off. The only ones that can, if he wants to do that, he has to go through the proper channels. He has to
But
submit
he's
that to
not.
exactly, he has to submit that to Congress, and Congress can then decide on what's going to happen. Now, the fact that Congress is Republican and he would most likely get his way makes me question why the rush and why he's not doing it that way, right?
And the only
So
reason I know about this part at all is because one of the things that was shut down was funding for people with rare disorders and well, sorry, funding for people with immune deficiency disorders. And I know a lot of people don't care about that because that doesn't, bother them or affect their life or their family's life. But for people like me, like if I, for instance, with this new inclusions, if I got put in the hospital on Tuesday and I got fired on Wednesday and my rent was due on Thursday, what do I do? Well, I used to be able, because of my situation, to call the Immune Deficiency Foundation and say, hey, can you help me? And they would, because I have such a rare disorder. And they wouldn't just like hand me money as I wanted or nothing like that. They would help me for the 30 days of my bills and help me get set back up. And then they would help me go after the company that let me go for my disorder. However, they clearly can't do that anymore. But go ahead.
yeah, no, so um basically one of the first things, and like what you mentioned is super important because it, like I said, it's going to affect a lot of people that voted for him. There's a lot of VA veteran, there's a lot of veterans that voted for this man.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of veterans with disabilities and not
There's
just
a lot of
physical.
people with cancer that voted for this man that no
Yeah,
longer have cancer research funding.
exactly. So now let's look at, because Dodge is supposed to like cut off the fat, right? He's supposed to cut the fat off. Elon Musk is supposed to cut the fat, trim the fat, and get rid of unnecessary government spending. Well, the federal budget is as such. There's mandatory spending, right? Which includes Medicare, Social Security, um, etc. Those are things that you have to pay. And I'm actually going to share my screen real quick. Actually, yeah, give me a second. Share screen. Uh, Okay, let's share this. So we have mandatory spending. Um, and then we also have, this is, by the way, from the fiscal data of the Treasury Department. There's mandatory, discretionary, and supplemental spending. And mandatory spending, if we look over here, would be Social Security, Medicare, and Medicare. And I believe maybe also National Security. Not sure. But anyways, here's what I'm getting at. This is how we spend. So we do 15% of Medicare, 21% social security, 14% national defense, 13% net interest, 13% on health, 9% income security, 6% for BA benefits and services, then 3% on education, training, employment, and social services. And that would be like SNAP benefits and um, social programs such as that, like Meals on Wheels, things like that.
Right.
2% on transportation, which would include, for instance, like there's the charging stations for EV vehicles, right? So because there's more electric vehicles nowadays, states got funding approved to build more EV stations, vehicle charging stations.
Hmm.
So that's what transportation would be. Then 2% for natural resources and environment. So that's like climate change. That would include like NOAA, which is the national organization, blah blah blah. And then 3% is other. All right. So that's how that works. That's the fund. That's the funding that we have. First thing that he went after, that thankfully they kind of, the judge blocked it because the judges are actively trying to fight them in doing this. First thing that he cut was things like Head Start, social programs, right? That's the first thing that he cut. How did he cut this? You may want to know, because he doesn't have the authority. Well, he gained access to the Treasury's Department payment systems. The person that was in charge of that tried to stop him, but he was basically forced to retire. And then him and his team of goons gained access to the payment systems for the entire country, which is trillions of dollars. And so instead of going on the proper channels, they just straight up cut the cord, cut the funding. Now, after that, we all know he went towards USAID, right? Like to USAID. Why did he go to USAID, you may ask, considering that it makes up less than 1% of the federal budget? This is not where America spends most of its money.
No, but he did it to be a bully.
He didn't do it to be a bully. So, you know the war in Ukraine and Russia, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So, when the war was happening, USAid, Elon Musk said he donated, USAid actually paid, I think it was $2 billion or $2 million for Starlink satellites to provide internet and communications to Ukraine.
Right.
But they were investigating him. There was an investigation against him because they had been found that he was actually providing for Russia as well. He was providing internet service with the start letting Russia access the Starlink satellites. But besides that, he was also disconnecting some of the ones for Ukraine in order to not allow them to communicate, so
Right.
they would lose access. So there was a pending investigation against Elon Musk. This is conflict of fucking interest, right? Like all of this is conflict of interest. Not only that, but USAID, Americans don't understand this. USAID is a vital agency that makes up less than 1% of the budget for America. And the
Right.
reason for this is because we have hard power, which is our military, but then we also have soft power. This agency was actually started by Kennedy in the middle of the Cold War because he was frustrated at just it was just a frustrating situation, and he wanted more influence of other countries in order to be able to do the things that he wanted to do and gain the intelligence that he wanted to gain. This is what soft power does. China's doing it, and by us pulling back from aiding other countries, that's only giving more space for China to have more influence on these other countries.
Right.
Not only that, but just if you are truly a Christian, you do understand that there's containers full of food that's rotting.
And we could literally just open the containers, guys.
Yeah. There's kids that are going hungry. This is HIV. Actually, PEPFAR, which was also canceled as part of USAID, was started by George W. Bush, which is he's Republican, and this is to aid in HIV. Like, there's mothers that are, well, pregnant women that are going through treatment that have been told that they will no longer be able to access treatment for their HIV, which is only going to create a resistance to that HIV and make the child that they have when they give birth, make that child have also drug resistant HIV. You're a Christian?
Right.
This
Hmm.
doesn't cost America that fucking much money.
Well, and
And
so let me say this because I'm not gonna sit here and act like I didn't say this to Noah, because now I understand what the whole what's the word?
power.
Soft power.
Power, yes.
Now I understand what that means. However, I will tell you, at first I wasn't at all bothered by the fact that these things were cut. You can ask her. I called her and I was like, "Girl, they got rid of this and this and this. It's gonna save us so much money." And she was like, "Girl, that is less than 1% of the budget." And I was like, "Oh,"
Yeah, that's
because
like
I don't know stuff like that. I don't mess with America's paychecks. I'm not America's accountant. I pay my own bills. I don't
that's like
really.
me saying, "Hey, Amanda, can you help me with some groceries?" And you throw like 50 cents at me out of a
But I
hundred. So you
felt
have $100 and you just throw out 50 cents at me. Here, go buy some groceries. Like,
that's how I feel the government's doing me right now, by the way. They're like,
um,
"Here's a paycheck. You can afford to get 2 waffles and an egg for the week. Enjoy."
you can't afford a fucking egg. Those are
You are
fucking
absolutely right, but I heard on Facebook that the Amish lottery is going for 6 dozen right now, so you should definitely sign up.
we should. I should. We should both. Um, yeah, eggs are expensive. They're not going down by the what by the way. Whoever, you guys voted for cheaper eggs is not working. It really
Is
isn't
that because
working.
of tariffs? Because I get my
No,
eggs locally.
no, and honestly, I don't blame Trump for the price of eggs, to be honest with you. That's the bird flu is going around. They're having to like kill a bunch of fucking chickens. He did blame Biden for the killing of the chickens, but it wasn't it wasn't Biden's fault. But so there's this program, USAID, obviously, and so many other programs that he has cut illegally. Um, we do want to really get into the depth of this, I believe,
Yeah.
and
I think that we're gonna need some more time to do that.
yep. So maybe we do a part two.
Ooh,
Fuck
part
Trump.
2.
Sorry, and Elon, the felon, the felon.
Isn't Trump a felon too? Oh,
Yeah,
they're
they're
just
both
all kind of
felons.
felons.
The fawns.
Like and subscribe. We'll be back for
Yes,
part
please
2.
do.